You tell me you're scared. You tell me you're weak, but I know you're stronger than what you think.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the vlog. You're probably wondering, hang on, let's just take my hat down. You're probably wondering why I'm sat outside in the rain, in the cold, instead of being tucked up nice and warm in my studio. The subject of this week's vlog really warrants me coming outside and being in the rain, because I want to talk about the winter and why many cyclists, including myself, really struggle with it. Cycling in winter, or not cycling in winter, as has been the case with me over the last couple of weeks, can be very difficult. Just getting out can be a mammoth task, and especially if, like it's been in the Netherlands here, it's not only wet but it's freezing cold, and it's just not conducive to good health, especially mine, getting out at the moment. But I thought I'd come out today and just talk about winter cycling and why so many cyclists struggle with it. I think a lot of cyclists probably decide they're not going to bother, and they either hang up the bike for the winter or they turn to indoor cycling, something which I've done over the last few years and, to be honest, very much enjoyed. But it's not giving me the same lift as what cycling outdoors does. Cycling outdoors, now obviously this series is all about how cycling helps me cope with my depression, and cycling outdoors does that. It lifts me, it gives me purpose, and actually getting the kit on and getting ready for an outdoor ride really lifts my spirits, and that's despite the weather. The only difference this year is I haven't been very well, and so when the weather really has taken a turn for the worse, I've sort of like decided not to go out because I don't want to make my illness worse. What I want to ask though is that during this time of year you keep an eye on your family and friends and anybody that you know that has depression. It's a very difficult time of year for a lot of people, and in particular for cyclists. And in video 2 I did mention that I was going to tell you a story, and I think it's now time to do so. I was following a ultra-endurance cyclist for quite a while in social media because of his exploits, and his name was Lee Ridgway. He was 41 years old, an ultra-endurance cyclist, and he held 4 world records for cycling certain distances in ultra-endurance cycling. And in March 2018, Lee Ridgway texted one of his friends and said, "Bye brother, I have had enough." Now they found him the next day in his car, dead. Lee had 2 young children, just the same as I have, and it rather shocked me at the time because his 2 children were similar age to mine, and I couldn't understand anybody giving up a family. But then I thought more about it over the following months and the following years, if I'm honest, and started to get an insight into how depression can really take hold and make you do things which you wouldn't normally expect of a guy like Lee. And then in 2019, I'm a big follower of sports, and in particular cycling sports, and we got the news that an Olympic cyclist called Kelly Catlin, who was only 24 years of age, had committed suicide in her dormitory. Now, Kelly had reached out somewhat and told people that she was really struggling to juggle school and cycling and her studies. She was struggling for a degree, a graduate degree at Stanford University, and in January of 2019 they found her dead in her dorm. Now, the point of telling you those two stories is what I asked earlier. Try to keep an eye on your loved ones, on your friends, on your family, on anybody you know that even remotely struggles with depression. This is the time of year that you really need to keep an eye on. Now, many will manage it through the Christmas period, and it's funny because I always thought, because for me it's true, I always thought that December was the worst month for depression and probably going to be the top month for suicides. But when I looked into it and I looked at the figures, that was definitely not the case. I assume that Christmas time brings about the depression, but the worst month for suicides is actually April, in the spring. And I just want to run a few figures by you just to give you an indication of how big this issue is. What I want to do is just go through some figures with you, because this time of year and the following period running into the new year is the time when we see the most deaths from suicide. In 2021, I looked at the figures for deaths by suicide, and I was quite shocked with what I found. In the Netherlands, 1,859 people took their own lives in 2021. In the UK, astonishingly, 5,583 people took their lives by suicide in 2021. But those two figures are absolutely dwarfed, as you would probably imagine, by the USA. And I just found this so hard to comprehend. The figure for the USA was 47,646 deaths by suicide. And that's just, well, it's unbelievable. It's also the top cause of death in the United States in 2021, outdoing cancer, drug abuse and gun violence. I mean, those figures make for depressing reading, but it just reiterates what I'm trying to say in this video, which is over the winter period, please reach out to family, friends and loved ones, especially those that you know struggle with depression or we've just been alone. And that's the title of this video, folks. Reach out. Because I think if we try to help each other through the most difficult time of year, then maybe we can reduce these figures for 2022 and 2023. Okay, I'm absolutely freezing cold. Not only is it raining here in the Netherlands, it's almost close to zero. So I'm going to wrap up the video. Thanks very much for watching. Hit that like button, and if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. It will help me make more videos. That's it. Take care, everybody. See you next week.